Welcome to Chair Yoga with Laurie. I'm going to level this practice for beginners, so some of my more experienced chair yoga folks can use it just as a refresher for your basics. I'm going to recommend that you obviously have a chair, and if possible, have the chair on a non-slip surface. So if it's on a wooden floor with wooden legs, then you want to put something under it where it's not going to slip. That's very important. I use a yoga mat. I'm on a carpeted surface, so I don't really need the yoga mat. I've got two blocks here. Be creative. If you don't have blocks, you can use many other items in the household. For instance, you could create a couple of blocks out of your salsa box or toilet rolls, etc. So there's lots of options you can have or create for your chair yoga. So why do chair yoga? Well, number one is we sit a lot in chairs, and sitting is the new smoking. So considering how deleterious sitting is in a sedentary lifestyle, is there a way we can use the chair in other ways that's more productive for our postural integrity, even core strength? I'll be showing you some core strength in this class. Flexibility, definitely. And moving the spine in 6 different directions. I recommend to all my students to do every day at least once each half an hour. And I'll explain how to do that a little more easily as we go on. If you look down through my website, you'll see many other classes. The chair yoga can be, I've created a vigorous chair yoga class as well, which some people might appreciate to do as well. So without further ado, I'm going to take the blocks. I'm going to position them, firstly, one block between the feet. Now, why do I do that? Because if you have a look at the way you're sitting right now, there's a chance that one foot is rotated outwards. So holding the block between the feet creates a little bit of integrity for the posture and positioning of the legs. I'm sitting towards the edge of the chair, very important. And this is going to help in a couple of ways. Firstly, it creates a slight dip between the knee and the hip. And this really does help my pelvis rotate slightly forward to create a need to sit up straight. If it's too much, you might find you get a little duck butt, a little low back arch. You don't want to do that. If you feel that, press down with the sit bones and lengthen the back of the skull. The second block, I'm simply going to squeeze between my thighs. So this reveals how much work. Often when we try to do yoga, we tend to squeeze our knees together. This is creating a little postural integrity between the knees. So you can see if I stood up right now, my hips, knees, and ankles would all be aligned. And this is, we'll talk more about that later in the class. So roll the shoulders up, back, and down. That holds the chest open. To support the open chest, let the back of the hands rest against the thighs. Once again, lengthen through the back body. And soften the face just a little bit by creating a Mona Lisa smile. And for a moment, notice the sensations that you're feeling. It's often easier to notice the sensations you're feeling by closing the eyes. When we close the eyes, we're less distracted. And one of the principles for the effectiveness of yoga is to withdraw the senses from the world. Start to explore the inner sensations that we normally ignore until we're in pain or suffering. What would it be like to pay attention to the more subtle experiences we have, not taking them for granted? When we stop taking things for granted, we start to appreciate how much is going on inside our own bodies, inside our mind, inside our nervous system. It becomes a whole world to explore. And with the eyes closed or gazing down gently, if you're more comfortable with that, feel the block between the feet. If you can, spread the toes and feel the feet on the floor. Feel the second block between the thighs and feel the sit bones on the chair. And then bring your attention to the breath. Let each new breath get a little deeper. And pay attention particularly to the exhale. Often we'll say to someone who's stressed out, take a deep breath in. Actually, what we should be saying to them is, exhale everything immediately. When you exhale, the heartbeat slows down. It releases tension. Exhale, squeeze the navel back towards the spine, creating a little hollow in the belly, and then relax to inhale. Try that again. Exhale, squeeze empty. Relax the belly to inhale. And start to feel this range of motion of the belly with each breath. And notice how your low back starts to move with the breath. The tailbone tucks under as you exhale. Belly expands, the pelvis starts to tilt forward, the tailbone lifts. Imagine the movement is a pump. As you inhale, it draws the air through the nose, belly expands, and as you exhale, draw the navel back, air passes out through the nostrils. Like those big old hand pumps that you lift the handle up, and then as you push down the exhale, the water comes out. Inhale, draw the water in. Exhale, let everything flow out. And if you can, try to breathe in and out of the nostrils. And let each new breath get a little deeper. Start to develop a range of motion in your breathing where you start to feel stretch sensations. As the lungs expand, the ribs need to open more. The expansion begins in the belly. Keep breathing in until the ribs expand in all directions. Release, exhale, draw the navel back in. Relax the belly, inhale. Keep breathing in, feel the ribs expand. Collarbones lift and widen. Exhale, releasing everything. Let your attention be on the breath and the sensations you feel from these deeper breathing. If you start to feel lightheaded at all, just breathe with a little more ease. Don't strain the breath. And then to this cycle of movement, this cycle of breathing, stretch sensations, we're going to add movement of the arms, starting to move the spine in 6 different directions. On the next inhale, reach the arms up and lift the chin. And as you exhale, float the hands down to the knees. Pull the navel back in, round the shoulder blades, and drop the chin. Inhale, lift up, look up, reach up till you're completely full. Exhale, hands to knees, rounding the back, letting the back stretch out, shoulder blades coming apart. Continue to move with the breath at the pace of your breathing. Not worried about the pace or movement of my breath or cueing. Letting it be a completely internal experience. And just notice if the legs want to change position as you move the body. Can you keep those blocks against the feet, keeping the feet parallel, knees parallel. And just notice how much the spine moves with each breath. As you lift up, look up, reach up, spinal extension, and as you tuck the tailbone and drop the chin, rounding the back, spinal flexion. Now it's very important to work in the range of motion that's appropriate for your body. Not too much sensation, definitely not pain. But you want to feel some sensation, so find your edge where you feel sensation that's best described as delicious discomfort. The next time you lift up, drop both hands down to the edges of the chair and see if you can feel the legs of the chair. Drop the left ear towards the left shoulder, and as you do, feel that sensation in the neck. Exhale, slide the hand down towards the floor on that left side. Hold the right shoulder down. I'm actually holding the seat of the chair to create a delicious stretch in the neck down into the shoulder. Chin away from the chest, so I'm not looking down. I'm looking straight out at the camera. Inhale, sit up. Exhale, opposite side. Bring the ear down. Slide the right hand down. Hold. Feel that delicious stretch in the side of the neck. Spinal flexion left and right. Start to move from side to side with the breath, exhaling as you lean to one side, inhaling as you come to neutral. The next time you come to the left, pause. Reach that right hand up into the sky, creating a delicious stretch through the rib cage. Keep the spine leaning to the left. You can use that left hand to support you by grabbing the leg of the chair. And then sweep that right hand over the head, almost like you're trying to touch the ground on the opposite side. Notice if your feet want to open up here or your knees. Inhale, reach up, both hands. Exhale, drop right. Slide right down, drop the ear towards that right shoulder, and then rainbow that left hand up over the head. Avoid the temptation to look down, look straight ahead, and then flow from side to side, using the weight of the arms to deepen the sensations in that stretching sensation left and right. The next time you come to neutral, pause. Exhale both hands to the right side of the body. Right hand grabs the back of the chair. Left hand grabs hold of right leg or grab hold of the clothing on that right leg. Bring the shoulders back and down and keep the chin away from the chest as if you're looking out onto the horizon. Not looking up, not looking down. And feel the breath in a twist. See if you can move that right hand a little further back to bring that right shoulder a little bit back, looking for that range of motion that's deliciously uncomfortable. And notice as you breathe in a twist, it might be a little more challenging. As you exhale, turn the head towards the left shoulder. Inhale, neutral. Exhale towards the right shoulder. And continue left and right with the breath. The next time you breathe to neutral, release the hands, pause, and just for a moment, notice if you can feel a contrast between the left and right sides of the body. Notice how the nervous system feels after a twist on one side of the body. Notice what's changing already as you sit here. I just dropped my block, so I'm going to bring it back up. And then again, that shows how the legs want to come apart all the time. Inhale, lift both hands up. Exhale, right hand to the left leg. The left hand grabs the back of the chair. Shoulders roll back and down. Ribs lift up, chin away from the chest. And just notice the sensations on this side of the body. You may notice one side of the body feels different. Start to deepen the breath. On the next exhale, turn the head towards that right shoulder. Inhale the head to neutral. Exhale the head towards that back shoulder. Continuing to sweep the head gently from left to right with the breath. Feeling the sensations. The next time you come to neutral, release, unwind slowly, and once again notice the impact from your twist. All right, so let's remove the blocks for now. Even though the blocks are out of the way, you can bring them to the side of the chair, down onto their lowest setting, out from the legs at the front of the chair. Reposition your feet. Look for the integrity. Feet parallel, hip width distance apart, knees hip width distance apart, and feel that integrity, sitting onto the edge of the chair. I'm going to work on some hip opening. And to do that, take the left leg out to the side, creating a nice 90-degree angle. Now check the alignment between the knees and the toes on both sides. You want the knees. So sometimes there's a tendency for that knee that turned to collapse inwards. You want the knee and the toes facing the same direction. And then bring it back. Try that again. Open and close. Can you coordinate that with the breath? Inhaling as you open. Exhaling as you close. Starting to feel that hip waking up. Now, if you'd like to add a little core strength to this movement, simply apply resistance with that left hand. Left hand comes to the outer edge of that left leg, and as you open it up, push against the left leg. Resist as you come back. Feel the core that's involved. Feel the upper body making the lower body have to work harder, so you're creating abductor and adductor strength in that leg. Very, very important muscles to keep strong as well as stretched in order to help the knee stabilize. Let's try the other side. Take that right leg out. Take a moment to look what happened to your right knee. Is it aligned over the toes? Very important. All right, check that and then close. Take 2 or 3 openings and closings before you add resistance. When you add resistance, you can add as much resistance with that arm as you can. The more resistance you add, the stronger the muscles have to work, and the stronger the core muscles have to stabilize. So this is a great way to stabilize those muscles that help secure the hip and the spine. You can feel the abdominals work, the obliques. There's a lot going on in that little movement. And then come back. Now we're going to go a little deeper into the hips. And this might be a little bit challenging. In fact, I'm going to turn my chair sideways so it makes more sense to you and I'm facing the camera. Well, actually, I think it's okay as it is. Take that left leg out to the side. Make sure of the alignment. Grab hold of the chair. Right hand grabs just underneath between the legs. Grabs the seat of the chair. Left hand grabs the back of the chair. And I turn and rotate and face sideways. So in that sideways movement, you can see left hand is stable, right hand is stable. Now it's very important that you bring the right sit bone off the chair. So it's suspended in space. Left knee is lined up with the left toes. Right foot is, my hips line up in the same direction as the front knee and the front foot. So my chest, hips align to the left. Now, right leg can come back behind you. That starts to create a little stretch in the hip flexor, right, as well as the quadriceps. So I'm getting a nice stretch there. Hip flexor and psoas muscle getting a nice stretch. I can exaggerate that stretch by pushing back through that back heel, creating a nice straight leg here. So you can bend the knee and then straighten the knee. Bend and straighten. Try to keep that front leg, the integrity of that front leg, nice and what. So you do your best. I'm on the ball of the foot here as I push back, right? So the ball of the foot, the toes, the ankle are all getting a workout here. Knee joint is opening and closing, stretching the hamstring as I push back, and then stretching the hip flexor as I push back. Now the next time I push back, this is where I want to pause and hold. Hold, really push back through that right heel. Make sure that left knee hasn't collapsed inwards. I feel a lot of stretch sensation down through the front of the hip here. And now to get a little bit more stretch sensation, if you feel comfortable, lift the right hand up. And you'll notice that stretches through the ribs. If I bring it back a little bit, it stretches through that front hip flexor. Come back to the breath. Loosen the grip of that left hand on the chair. If you feel stable, bring the left hand up and we come into runner's lunge. Feel runner's lunge. Breathe through the sensations. There should be a lot of sensation here. It's a big hip opening. Exhale to come out slowly. Drop the hands down. Let the hands secure to the chair and then slowly bend that back leg. Hands grab the side of the chair and then slowly come back. After a long stretch like that, it's very important to come back slowly. Close the eyes and just notice the sensations. Now, one thing I didn't mention on that side that I'll mention on this side is if you have issues getting your foot flat on the floor, the turned foot, you can use a block. Let me demonstrate. So I'm going to come around to the other side, open that right leg out. Now I have a block here. Let's say I couldn't quite reach the floor with my foot. I could stand my foot on the block, and that way it keeps a nice open hip, but the front foot is stable. And again, check that that knee doesn't collapse inwards. Now I don't need the block, so I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm crinkling up my nice mat here. There it is. Come to the edge of the chair. You want that left sit bone suspended. You still have another stable seat, so you're not going to fall off here. Right hand grabs the back of the chair, left hand grabs the front. Take the left leg back and start to push out through the heel. Again, stabilize. Look at that front knee. Is it a nice 90-degree angle? Is the foot flat on the floor or a block? Is the knee lined up is the same direction as the toes? Is my chest pointing the same direction? And as I do, I've got my hands secured on the chair and I'm pushing back through that back heel, starting to stretch the hip flexor, the psoas, and also gives a great workout for the ankle joint, which is responsible for 47% of our balance. I feel the toes getting good stretch and workout. And if you're not used to this, this might be a little bit too much for you. So you reduce and work in the range of motion that's appropriate for you. Next time you push back, hold. Hold, establish, make sure that front foot is nice and stable, direction-wise. Bring the left hip forward, and as you do, push that left heel back so you really get your maximum sensation in that back leg. Inhale, lift the left arm up, add a little more sensation. Check your stability. Do you feel stable? If so, release the right hand and reach up. So just reaching like this is working out the shoulders as well. Avoid lifting the chin. You don't want to put pressure in the back of the neck. Big hip opening for 3, 2. On the next exhale, release, let everything soften. Hands stabilize, bend the back knee, slowly rotate back to the front, and notice how it feels. All right. So the next session is simply to work on core strength. Here's my theory. My theory is that once we lose the ability to sit on a chair and stand from the chair, we become dependent on others. We lose our autonomy. For some people, that may mean going to a nursing home. So if we relearn the art of sitting and standing, we might be able to maintain a longer period of time where we keep those muscles that were designed to stand us strong and stable. We've developed many bad habits in our sitting and standing. One of the worst habits I see, and most dangerous habits I see, is people will twist. They will rotate the body in order to sit or stand. This creates instability in the foundation and opens up the possibility of a fall. Once we have a fall, we lose confidence. And once we lose confidence, then we've got a psychological component to sitting and standing. So let's go through it. Imaginary block between the feet, imaginary block between the thighs. So as we sit or stand, we don't want the knees to go out or the foot to rotate out like that. That's already creating bad habits. Sit towards the edge of the chair. use your pincher fingers to grab the edge of the chair. Lengthen up, shoulders roll back and down. And as you exhale, lean forward. Look down. Notice where your feet are. Did anything change? How are your knees? Are they parallel? Did they turn out? And notice how the weight of the body starts to move in towards the front of the foot. Sit back up. So already we're creating and engaging muscles that are preparing us to stand. Exhale, come forward. Make sure the toes are no further forward than the kneecaps. You don't want the toes too far forward. If they are, bring the feet a little bit back. In this position where your weight is forward, your legs are preparing to stand. All right? You might feel your quadriceps engaged, your glutes engaged, your calf muscles engaged. Inhale, sit up. So already we're strengthening those muscles, preparing those muscles to stand us. Try that a few more times. Exhaling as you come forward, inhaling as you come back. Feel how the leg muscles relax as you come back, and they engage, they prepare as you come forward. Now, as you do this little exercise, I want you to be conscious of where you feel stable and secure and where you feel unstable, and just notice if the foot or the knee want to compensate. Do they want to turn outwards? This is very, very common. Now, the next time we come forward, I want you to pause and hold. I'm going to look up into the camera, but I want you to look down. And I want you to start to push down with your heels and lift your sit bones about an inch off the chair. So now you should be starting to feel major engagement in the quadriceps. You should feel that. Without plopping, sit back down on the chair. Rest the hands on the thighs for a moment. Close the eyes. And notice what happened. Notice if you feel a little warmer. If you feel the breath a little more heavily. Perhaps you feel the heartbeat. So your body just prepared. It sent a shock load of blood right down into those big major muscle groups that help you stand. You did a squat, basically. And they're the muscles we want to engage. Sitting back slowly, let's try that again. Inhale, come forward, lift the sit bones, and then practice just coming down without plopping. Did you plop? Try that again. Inhale, forward, lift. Exhale without plopping, come back slowly. So you start to develop this awareness, consciousness around your standing muscles. And just that coming back without plopping using the eccentric strength of the quadriceps is really, really helpful to build strength in those quadriceps. Now the next time you come forward, hold, and then slowly push down with the heels. As you do, lift the buttocks and slowly stand up. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. Spiral the hands out to the side. Squeeze the shoulder blades. For a moment, look down. Make sure the feet are still parallel, hip width distance apart. Knees over the ankles, hips over the knees. This is called Tadasana or mountain pose. Close the eyes, push down through the heels, lift the back of the skull. And breathe. Soften the face. Now I'm going to do a little bit more work using the chair, standing using the chair, and in that we can, for those who are less confident, who feel like that's enough, this would be a good time to pause and just maybe sit in the chair for a moment with eyes closed, focusing on the breathing. Otherwise, those who want to go a little further with me, take your chair, and I'm going to move this mat because it's not serving me so much because it's already on the carpet, so my chair is nice and stable. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Bring the chair back. Reverse the chair. You can do this while I'm rolling up my mat. Reverse the chair so that the back of the chair is facing me. The back of my chair is facing you. The seat is closer to you. Put that to one side. Boom. Bring the hands onto the seat of the chair and walk yourself back into an L stretch. Push out through the hips. Lengthen through the spine. Legs are straight. Look down at the feet. Make sure they're not rotating outwards. But you can try to spiral the inside of the thighs. Open up the back of the hips. Keep the arms straight and bring your weight forward into your hands. So the head comes forward. I start to feel the weight move into my hands. Pull the shoulders back. Push the hips forward. Keep the heels planted so I feel a stretch in the calf muscles and I come into plank pose. Exhale back to L stretch. Inhale forward. Exhale back. For those who want to go into a little more advanced pose, the next time you come forward into plank pose, hips come forward. Now come onto the balls of the feet and push the hips into the edge of the seat of the chair. Shoulders roll back and down. Chin lifts up and feel upward facing dog. And breathe. Exhale, bend the knees. Push back to L stretch. Bring the feet together and lift the left foot high into the sky. Three-legged dog. Big stretch. Look between the hands. Now step that front foot all the way to the back of the chair, which is all the way forwards. So that left foot's come a long way forward. Right heel is lifted. Now I'm back into my runner's lunge. Shoulders roll back. Let the chest open up. Let the sternum flower open. Look at that front knee. Make sure it's not collapsing inwards here. I can keep my right hand resting on the chair and then lift the left. For those who feel confident and stable, you can lift the right hand and reach up. Exhale, bring the hands down. Step back. Press back into that L stretch, which is like a downward dog. This time lift the right foot high to the sky. Three-legged dog. Step that right foot all the way forward towards the front of the chair. Left heel lifted. Shoulders roll back. Open the chest. Push back through that left heel. Check that right knee hasn't collapsed. Right hand lifts. And then left hand. Exhale, bring the hands back to the chair. Step back. Walk the feet towards the chair. And then slowly come up. Reverse the chair. And then come back to the edge of the chair. Find a seated position where you feel stable, conscious of the fact that the feet are hip width distance apart, knees hip width distance apart, shoulders roll back and down, palms face up. Let the eyes become soft or closed. Come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. And as you breathe, come back to that conscious three-part breath. Belly expands, ribs expand, collarbones lift and widen, Exhale, release, squeeze empty, draw the navel back. Feel that pumping action once again. Belly, ribs, collarbones. Exhale, release, squeeze empty. And as you breathe, notice the sensations in your hips, your ankles, knees, belly, low back, chest, shoulders, neck. Notice where your practice has brought you today. Let yourself soak in all the information, all the experience. I know you can come back to this tape over and over again, practice over and over again, and just watch yourself grow into the practice. Watch yourself develop over time. And once again, knowing that there's many videos on my website that you can try out, experience, grow into. And for now, thank you for joining me. Namaste.